coffee breakdown.
We're going to have a new speaker here tonight, too. They did recommend Palisades.
Is that? Yep. But yeah. Okay. But this will be the last time we're going to do a 5 minutes too thing. All right. Timekeeper, what time is it? Hello everyone. Well, once again, I find myself in a situation where there's actually a lot of friendly conversation, and I always hate to interrupt that. However, it's a couple minutes after 7, and our meeting is supposed to start at 7, so I usually get a little nod here from when it is 7 from the vice mayor who tries to keep me on track. But you were involved in a conversation as well. So here we are on this beautiful kind of cleared up evening here in Kalamazoo, and so I want to call to order the Kalamazoo City Commission for Monday, May 18th, 2026, and the first order of business is roll call. Clerk Borling.
Commissioner Hess.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradel.
Present.
Commissioner Slaby.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. So we are honored for our opening ceremony here to have the Reverend Mary Austin from the First Congregational Church prepared to provide an invocation to get us started. And I, just in a moment, going to ask her to come forward. And just to remind everybody, please, if you would be so kind, stand here in the chambers for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes, Reverend Austin.
Let us come to the God of our understanding. Holy God, force of love, sacred spirit, we give you thanks for this gathering and all here. We pray that you would lead us each in our sacred imagination toward a better city through our work, the commission's work, the mayor's work, the manager's work, and all gathered here. Let our imaginations be full of a city full of peace, housing for all, a joyful welcome for newcomers, and a safe place for all. We give you thanks for all who work so hard to end gun violence and pray that we would become a city where shots are never fired and all feel at home in their homes. We pray that your spirit would guide us in this work and in all that we aim to do. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, Reverend Austin. I appreciate being here to help us get started. As is fairly regular now, we do have a couple proclamations on our agenda for this evening, and I'm going to come down with the proclamations. One of them is one that we do every year, and that's why there's people here in the chambers and a commissioner wearing orange this evening. So important color and important recognition. So I will be coming down. The first proclamation is National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Could I have someone come down to accept this proclamation? Orange is also my favorite color, so this is probably my favorite proclamation to give, one of them at least. This proclamation declares the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Kalamazoo to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to end this public health crisis. Whereas every day, nearly 130 people in the United States are killed by gun violence, and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 19,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas people in the United States are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas Michigan has the 28th highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S., with 1,423 gun deaths every year, with a rate of 14.2 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that costs the state $16.8 billion each year, of which $380.5 million is paid by taxpayers. And whereas gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities, with more than half of all gun homicides in the nation occurring in 42 cities. And whereas cities across the nation, including Kalamazoo, are working to end senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is mayors' highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from those who are a danger to themselves or others. And whereas mayors, commission members, and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see gun violence continue to impact communities across the country. And whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15. And on June 5th, 2026, to recognize the 29th birthday of Hadia Pendleton, born June 2nd, 1997, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute to Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence, and the loved ones of those victims. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, they chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when they're out in the woods. And orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 5th, the first Friday in June 2026, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 5th, 2026, people across the United States will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 56th City Commission and our Mayor David F. Anderson, I, Commissioner Wilson, do hereby proclaim the first Friday in June, June 5th, 2026, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I encourage all citizens to support their local communities' efforts to prevent the tragic impacts of gun violence and to save lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your commitment each year to this proclamation. It does contribute to the changes we see in Kalamazoo around gun violence. And those of us here in wearing orange, as this day is June 5th has become called, Wear Orange Day. We appreciate those efforts. We have witnessed them as you've taken some actions here through your commission, some that have been lasting, some that maybe didn't have as much effect as we wanted to, but we're going to keep fighting. You see the people here in orange and probably beyond, we're all survivors. Some of us are parents, some grandparents. We're advocates. Some of us are gun violence intervention workers, trauma team members. It's the hospitals. And we all know loved ones and friends and contacts that have lost their lives, had their lives taken by gun violence. We have students, I don't know if they're in the audience today, but we've been working with students across the county and in Portage because they have a strong voice in this too. They've been exposed to friends and relatives being hurt, killed in gun violence, and also drills and things at school. Another incident today, and then another shooting yesterday here in Kalamazoo. We have to keep up the hard work. To help you commemorate Wear Orange Day on June 5th, we've given each of you a We Can End Gun Violence pin, courtesy of Barb Van Esseltine, one of our members. We want you to have that and hopefully wear that at least on June 5th as a symbol of solidarity. There's a lot of daily work to be done beyond these proclamations. We are going to be at the County Commission tomorrow, and then on May 26th at Portage City Council for proclamations, and have the same conversations. Appreciate you doing this every year and helping us work, our organizations to work and try to reduce gun violence in Kalamazoo. It has been working, not all the results that we want, but there have been changes because of the hard work we have all done. Thank you very much. Can we get a picture? If you want to stand up, please, we're going to take a picture, a group picture. Okay. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next proclamation. This is for Department of Public Services Week 2026. So looks like our Public Services Director, James Baker, is going to come up to the mic. Thank you. So I'm going to read the proclamation for the Department of Public Services Week 2026, May 18th through May 22nd. Whereas the Department of Public Services professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, groundwater, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Kalamazoo. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, groundwater, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public services professionals, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of the organization responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our community's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas public services employees are committed to providing dedicated service to the community in which we live and work. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Kalamazoo to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of our public services department and public services programs in our community. And whereas the City of Kalamazoo recognizes public services is essential to the welfare of our community and acknowledges the importance of educating the public about all the services provided by our public services professionals during Public Services Week campaign, May 18th through the 22nd, 2026. We encourage all residents to participate in the various activities Tuesday, which is water and wastewater, and Thursday, which is public works, solid waste, and support services at our 2 public services department facilities to learn about this important and essential work. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 56th City Commission and David F. Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, I, City Commissioner Jacqueline Slaby, do hereby announce and proclaim the 3rd full week of May as Public Services Week. I urge all citizens to join me as we pay tribute to our public services professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our health, safety, and quality of life.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Department of Public Services, we'd like to thank the City Commission for this proclamation, and we encourage the public to come out and see the people, places, and equipment that power this city. So we look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday at Harrison and again on Thursday at Stockbridge. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again to everyone that came to the chambers here to recognize those proclamations. We will move on here, and hopefully I can get through this without devolving into coughing. So we'll see how that goes. The next thing on our agenda here is the adoption of the formal agenda. So commissioners, are there any items on the G consent agenda, which has 19 items, that you'd like to have moved to H, the regular agenda?
Mayor, I was wondering if there's any chance we could pull 13 and 14. I just have some questions about that.
That would be
Both about
G14?
Yep, G13 and 14, please. Both of them are the lights on north
Okay.
side streets.
G13 and 14 will now become regular agenda items. Commissioner Slavy?
And I'd like to request G16, the adoption of resolution establishing a social district, to be moved to the regular agenda.
Okie dokie. Any other changes?
8.
Okay. All right. Appreciate those changes, commissioners. Manager Hankins, are there any changes to the agenda that you would like to propose?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just ask that we have item H3 and K1 removed from tonight's agenda. I'll follow up at a later date with those items.
Okay, so I'm just going to add to that. So Manager Hankins is recommending that for further discussion that H3 is going to be pulled from the regular agenda, and as well as K1, a policy item. Now, I'm going to add to that, Vice Mayor Duncan, if you don't mind, the one that you pulled on the consent agenda is related to that, not directly, but related to that.
I'm okay with that.
So are you okay with that one being pulled as well? That was
G8.
It's a-
G8 on the consent agenda.
It's basically a duplicate.
Two different pieces of it, two different actions. So you're okay with that, Vice Mayor? Okay, so
Yes.
that will be pulled from the agenda as well then?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Attorney Leal.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners. I would like to add an item to the regular agenda, and it is along the lines of approval of a settlement agreement in the Rashard Armstrong versus City of Kalamazoo et al. Lawsuit.
Thank you.
On the regular agenda.
So I'm losing track about what numbers everything is as we're sliding things around, but we're adding that to the regular agenda. All right. So that is the extent of the changes there. Next, communications, Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. None at this time.
Nothing this evening? Okay. Now we are to public comments. That's E on the agenda, excuse me. Just a reminder that if there's any topic you want to comment on, you'll have 4 minutes. If so, please come forward, state your name, whether you live in the city, and any topic you're interested in, you can use your 4 minutes. So anyone want to take advantage of public comments this evening?
Hey, good evening, Commission, and good evening, residents of Kalamazoo. I'm here today to introduce myself. My name is Diop Harris, resident of Battle Creek, 35 Magnolia Avenue, not a resident of Kalamazoo, but coming to you as a prospective work partner. I'm running for Congress, the 4th Congressional District, which includes all of Kalamazoo, so looking forward to the opportunities we'll have to unlock once I'm elected to Congress come January 3rd. Right now, we've got some critical pieces that we can unlock right now. And I've noticed, going through a few of your agendas that I rarely see, congressionally directed spending brought up. That's a member of Congress's direct wallet to our communities to be able to fund the things that we need to happen here in our communities. We have a current congressperson right now that has decided that that is immoral to fund these things, and I'm looking to unlock it. Not only that, I'm looking to expand upon the opportunities that we have here, including on regional transit. We've got Calhoun and Kalamazoo counties sitting right next to each other, and we can develop a competitive regional transit system and make it so that folks have so many options to move around in Kalamazoo that they get stuck here. Folks don't got to go up north to go to Grand Rapids to fly out. Folks will have a competitive regional airport here in Kalamazoo that connects folks all the way from Berrien County, all the way from Battle Creek, and make Kalamazoo that new hub. And so as your next member of Congress, I cannot wait to talk with you guys on what those plans may look like in the future. I'm going to be here in your community as a campaigner. I'm not here to campaign today, but I hope that you engage with me, listen to the ideas that I'm bringing forth. Help me, with iron sharpening iron. Let me know if there's a better way for me to champion the issues that the communities that I'm listening to are calling for. So just here to introduce myself, and thank you so much for the work that y'all do and the attention that y'all pay to the residents' needs.
Thank you. Yes, next, please.
Commission. My name is Carl Rizzuto, lifelong resident of Kalamazoo, also co-owner with my son of Papa's Italian Sausage. We just celebrated our business's 43rd year in Kalamazoo. More importantly, we're celebrating our 3rd year at our new location on the city's north side. When we picked that site, we knew it was the new growth of downtown, and we still believe that. But like any business, moving to a new location, you have to rebuild, and we are still in that process. I believe this 3rd year is a deciding factor of which direction our business moves. Bottom line, if we need more people to come down into our area. To quote the owners of the now closed Green Door Distillery tasting room, you can have 20,000 likes on Facebook, but it doesn't matter if they don't come down to see you. I'm here tonight to ask you for your vote in creating a new social district in our area. The simplest thing of allowing my patrons to bring a beer from our neighbor's brewery au trait and enjoy a sub or a dish of pasta, or to walk to Louis for more options. We also have a beautiful park across the street from us, Harrison Park, which could be utilized for special events, and to be able to bring a sausage and a beer to the event would be a great option. All of these ideas would help. We are hoping to receive your agreement before the start of summer with all the tasks that have to be tackled to turn this reality. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Jordan Woods. I am a resident of the Northside neighborhood, and I am the chair of the Northside Cultural Business District. I'm here to support the approval of the social district. We have been trying to get this done for over a year, and I just want to thank everyone from the city staff that was involved in bringing it to this commission, and as Carl said, hope that you will push it forward. My next thing is that I would like to, again, to thank the Public Services Department, the Public Safety Department, and our city manager for continuing to address the issues that had to do with the infrastructure that has not been addressed for over 100 years in our neighborhood, that just exacerbated the problem of the flooding. And so I hope that this commission will continue to support our city manager, because he didn't just come as a person. He came in and he went and he talked to residents. And you know what? A lot of people talk about what they'll do if you elect them, but when they show you, my mother said, you look at what people show you and you'll know who they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, everyone, again. My name is Tina McClinton, and I am from Kalamazoo. I've lived in Kalamazoo all my life. I've owned my home for 38 years. I live in that lovely floodplain area on the south side of town, the one that always floods, the neighborhood that once dry streets like the rest of the neighborhoods have. I agree with her. Our infrastructure underneath our streets is so bad that we flood over at 1.38 inches of rain. Floods the whole neighborhood out. We can't even get out. We can't get home either. Takes out our furnace, 4 feet of water in your basement, 2-3 times a year. That's a lot to deal with. It's time to fix those infrastructure issues. All we want to do is be able to go home when it rains, just like the other neighborhoods do. Be able to get out of our neighborhood, just like the other neighborhoods do. All we want is for you to fix the storm drain issues and storm sewer issues in my neighborhood. They should not be flooding out the streets. They should be taking in the water, not pushing it back out. I have been asking for over 8 years. Now here we could cost no money to pay for it. No money to fix this problem, but yet you have $1 billion to mess up Portage Road more, to congest traffic more for bike lanes, crosswalks, islands, the empty bike lanes. And you also come up with $3 billion to move a railroad track so traffic will flow downtown but does not flow anywhere else in Kalamazoo. You set at every light 2 to 3 times. Sometimes you get through it, sometimes you don't. But all that time you're setting, you're just polluting the air more because you're congested. Traffic's backed up for blocks on every street you go on. Let it be rush hour. You'll be sitting there forever just to get through that light. I know you just don't want to deal with it, and you always say the lack of funding, but you always seem to come up with the money for the rich man's playground downtown, but you never come up with it for the poor neighborhoods who struggle already and suffer to make ends meet and have to keep putting in new furnaces, water heaters, cleaning up the stuff that comes in your basement from the flooding. There's no water in front of my house. There's a little green space in front of my house with lots of mature trees. That's what keeps our home safe from water being in front of it and in our yards. The same green space that's been on the city's destruction list for 8 years now. It's our wildlife's last home. It's our savior from the flooding. There's a lot of big trees in there, and they drink a lot of water, and they help with the soil. Our storm drains, we keep them clean, so that's not our issue. It's that the water comes up out of the storm drains, and then it backs up the city's sewers into the groundwater. Our sub pumps pump up groundwater. What do we get? Sewage. That shouldn't happen to anybody, any resident in Kalamazoo. I don't care what zip code you live in. And another thing, please bring back public call-ins at the city commission meetings so every resident has a voice. Old, young, don't drive, don't have a car, don't have a computer. You can still come here and speak your concerns. Whether anybody will listen or not, I don't know. But you still can speak your concerns like I've been doing for 8 years. And your road diet, that's a waste of money. It's a joke. People run through red lights like it's nothing. Why don't you go back to tickets? Rent in Kalamazoo is so high that residents, especially seniors, can't afford to survive. Water bills, ridiculous. Consumers' bills, ridiculous. Taxes, ridiculous. You just can't afford to live in Kalamazoo anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Emma Beatty. I am the resident of the Edison Neighborhood Association, Edison Neighborhood. Ditto on the flooding. My concerns is, I'm speaking for the police, okay? They can't be everywhere all the time. They're not supermen, they're not superwomen. We as residents cannot police our streets. Kudos on the gun violence. I love that. But at some point, we've got to care about the little kids, okay? I live on Lay Boulevard. They speed, I swear, they do 70 from Race to James. And these babies are out there playing, and I'm screaming, because you can hear the pipes when they're revving them up. They about, move, get on the sidewalk. And these babies are moving. Kudos to the officers. I got in trouble. My husband yelled at me. The same car that I saw speeding, I hurried up and got in my car to see where he was going. So I got the address, gave it to an officer, went to see my dad. Sure enough, that same car with another vehicle racing down Mill Street. So I gave him that information. My thing is, we need speed bumps. You have a school down there. Now they have pancakes for speed bumps at the Washington School. They're literally pancakes. We need, I don't know how many of you have ever been to East St. Louis. I'm from East St. Louis. So there, if there's a stoplight here, you can only do 5 miles an hour before there's another stoplight. I'm not saying that. But we need, between James and Race, speed bumps. And I mean some serious, or these babies are gonna get killed. I've seen cars turn the corner, hit my neighbor's house. If it wasn't for that big tree in their yard, it would have went into their front porch. Same across the street. So if we're gonna have a gun violence day, let's care enough about our little ones, honestly, to protect them. Please, please put those 3 measly speed bumps between James and Race, please, to protect them. Because if one of them die, I don't think you guys are ever gonna hear the end of it. Not from the people on that block. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate the officers, because they even tell us, you know, people think that we can do everything, but we can't, and we need your voice. Well, I'm your voice, okay? And I appreciate them very, very, very much. Help us help them. Gun control, don't have us calling them about a speeder when they could be catching somebody that's brandishing a gun. That's all I'm asking. I'm 68. I might not be here when I'm 69, but I'm gonna try to be. If you ain't did it by then, I'm gonna be back saying the same thing, okay? I appreciate you all. Have an amazingly blessed day.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mayor Anderson, Vice Mayor Duncan, City Commissioners. My name is Kevin Camps, and I reside at 441 Fairfax Avenue. And I serve as the Executive Director of Don't Waste Michigan, which is the statewide anti-nuclear coalition that formed in the 1980s. I'm born and raised in Kalamazoo, but I took work in Washington, D.C. in 1999, and am now moving back after 27 years to my hometown. And I wanted to report back to you about an event that we just held over the weekend at Circle Pine Center in Delton in Berry County, a small nuclear reactors summit that brought in 80 people, about half in the room and half by Zoom, from across the Great Lakes Basin, from Canada, and even from further away. Somebody came up from Texas for this event. We had a focus on the Palisades nuclear power plant, the proposal to build 2 new reactors on that site, as well as the proposal to restart the 60-year-old reactor out there that supposedly permanently shut down on May 20th of 2022. And when we first heard about the proposals to build new reactors there and to restart the old one, rather than decommission the site, which had been promised to us, we began referring to it as a zombie reactor restart, as a nuclear nightmare. And the reason I'm bringing it to you is that Kalamazoo on the west side is 35 miles downwind of Palisades. And we are very concerned that they are playing with fire out there. This company, Holtec International, which lied to get a hold of Palisades, saying it was going to decommission Palisades, Instead, immediately, a week later, once they got a hold of it under false pretenses, applied to the Department of Energy and to the state of Michigan for many billions of dollars, not only to restart the old reactor, but to build the new ones. So we believe that a large-scale radioactive catastrophe is possible. I hope I'm wrong, but I fear I'm not. And just to bring it right up to the present moment, we just learned days ago about a serious incident that took place at Palisades in early February. They were supposed to report such an incident within 60 days, but it took them 90 days. What happened was they were drilling a hole on site carelessly, and they actually intercepted safety-critical electrical circuitry underground. If the reactor had been operating when that happened, like I said, they are playing with fire out there, but fortunately they hadn't restarted yet. So a very loud rumor we're hearing on the lakeshore is that the restart is now long delayed, even though it's already 2 years beyond schedule. Many months to go before restart, if it happens at all, which to us is very good news. It should not happen. It's very dangerous. It's unprecedented. It's unneeded. The lights have stayed on for the past 4 years in Kalamazoo. It's insanely expensive for the public. They've already gotten a hold of $3.5 billion, mostly federal money, but also $300 million from the state of Michigan. It's also extremely high risk to safety, security, human health, and the environment. And so we had a day of action in Kalamazoo today. We hoped to do it in Bronson Park. We got monsooned out, so we did it at the Glow Hall. We had a press conference. We had a brass band. We had a folk singer. We're trying to warn Kalamazoo about the risks that are happening out there and see what can be done about it. And I hope that the city will consider a resolution against these schemes, and we would be very happy to work with you on that. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
I stand too close. Hi, I'm Iris Potter, 1204 Manor Street. Hello again, Commissioners, City Manager. Today I'm here as a founder of Michigan Safe Energy Future, its Kalamazoo chapter, and Palisades Shutdown Campaign. For many years I felt unsafe with Palisades and knew the risks, and I still do. But it was shut down. And then a scheme came along, and money, our taxpayer money, was given in the form of loans to them to potentially restart. We value human life here in Kalamazoo, and it may not seem like an issue that folks can grab onto very well, except that we all go to South Haven. We all are connected to South Haven. And we are, what, 35.6 miles away? There are a lot of what-ifs, but we, Kevin, many others of us, Mr. Duncan, Slaby, know the risks, and I'm sure many of others of you do too. So we value human life. Actually, a few years ago, many years ago now, I've been reminded, I was here with others to address the City Commission with Mayor Hopewell when he was City Commissioner, and we asked that a resolution be passed or a letter for shutdown of Palisades because of it being unsafe. And Mayor Hopewell wrote an excellent letter to the powers that be. So it's a tradition, so we hope that you can do that as well. A few points of information here. Do we know that we are in a 50-mile radiation zone designated by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Kalamazoo? We're not in that close-in evacuation zone, which stops at Bangor. But how connected are we with South Haven? Because where will folks go? These are possible what-ifs, but not necessarily. I'm very concerned about a company that has a very bad reputation, is already taking our money, has never restarted a power plant, has never even run a power plant, and I'm just very concerned. Another point of information. Do we know that when power plants are up, that they can do unscheduled, unplanned, or they're planning them, releases of radiation? We know, and we have learned, that in South Haven, very close, or covert, South Haven, whatever, next to the power plant, there are thyroid cases, possibly cancer. So we don't want to take the chances. Why in this day and age do we want to risk anything like this? We didn't ask for it. We don't need it. Did our lights go out when Palisades was shut down in May of 2022? No. Do you think we might get higher electric rates? Probably. I'm just saying that. I don't know. So please join with us again, as tradition has it, and pass a resolution not only to not restart Palisades, but not to have them develop, which they plan, they're already starting to get most sand dunes down, put in 2 new reactors. We don't want to take that risk. We have information to help if you need it for a resolution. I doubt that you do because I imagine you're well informed. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers that would like to take advantage of public comment time? All right, seeing no one, I wanted to thank everyone that took the time and made the effort to come here to the City Commission meeting to provide public comments. I appreciate that. Next on our agenda is a public hearing. So I am now going to open a public hearing to receive comments on a resolution establishing the Zone 32 Neighborhood Enterprise Zone District at 825 Porter Street and 810 North Pitcher Street in the North Side neighborhood. And Manager Hankins, is there a staff report on this item?
Yes, Mayor, there is. Assistant Planner Bobby Durkee is here with gentleman to speak on this item right now.
Thank you, Mr. Durkee. Good to see you.
You're welcome. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Tonight, we recently did a similar NEZ zone district, you may remember, beyond Burdick on 802 South Burdick. Tonight, we're going to give a presentation on what the request is, and the public hearing is for a resolution to follow later on June 15th. And this time, I asked Jamari Bogan to join me and present the project as well. So he's going to speak to the first few slides, and then I'll wrap it up on the last slides, and then if there's any questions from the commission on this item, we'll be glad to address them.
Thank you, Mr. Durkee, and welcome, Mr. Bogan.
Thank you, Bobby. Good evening, City Manager Hankins, Mayor Anderson, and fellow commissioners. My name is Jamari Bogan. I am the CEO of Bogan Developments. We are a Kalamazoo-based development company based in the north side of here in Kalamazoo. Today, we're here to talk about Zone 32, Phase 2. Today, we're here to create an NEZ district for this project. Here's a timeline that we kind of laid out to kind of walk you guys through what we're expecting over the next few months. So today, of course, we're here to create a district. In June, we expect to finalize all our incentives for the project. In July, we expect to have a groundbreaking/closing. We're excited to celebrate with you all when that happens. And then by August of 2027, we expect to open up and have residents here on site in our project. The project is the second phase of the Zone 32 project. The first phase included 12 workforce housing units, our office, and an early learning center with the YMCA. This phase now will have 38 new additional units. We will be acquiring sites from the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and improving those sites while also improving the infrastructure that exists today in this area. And the picture here is kind of a visual of the area looking at downtown. The unit mix of the project will be quite unique. We will have units ranging from 40% of AMI to 90% of AMI. We will have 10 studios, 81 bedrooms, and 10 two-bed, two-baths. On site, we will have some amenities, community room, bicycle storage, outdoor patio, and inside of the units, they'll have laundry in all units, and of course, energy-efficient appliances. These are some visuals of what it will look like inside for set tenants. As mentioned today, we are asking to create an NEZ district. Without this district, we always get the question of, why do you need the incentive? But without it, we wouldn't be able to hit something they call in our business the debt service coverage ratio, which means that we wouldn't be able to create adequate cash flow in the deal to break ground and get it to feasibility. So this tool really helps us get to feasibility and stay on a timeline to build this kind of project. And this project typically, folks have always asked about affordability. Typically, the kind of affordability we have in this transaction, you only can build with kind of the low-income housing tax credit tool, and we're building it right now without it. So really have a great range of affordability while also doing it with unique tools like the NEZ. So thank you, guys. I'll let Bobby come up now.
Thank you, Mr. Bogan.
Thank you, Jamari. Listening to some of the presentation, I realize I may have an item or two of repetitive. So there's an aerial view. We're looking to the east there, and you can see phase one there is the kind of U-shaped building there. Makes up those two parcels. There's other funding support being sought through the Housing Development Fund. There was the recent, there's a brownfield plan in development, county housing millage, and then as Jamari explained much better than I could, how the NEZ wraps into the financial pro forma. And the years of support are based off of the number of affordable units, and that is from the City Commission policy. Something unique with this project, or the challenge of old development, redevelopment sites, some of these plats go back to the 1860s, so you run into a lot of issues. So Myrtle is a really old street, and Pitcher Street had a lot of old issues and is a poor condition road further to the north. As part of this site plan, you can see there what the arrows are pointing at. There are full reconstructions of the road, sidewalks, and completely replacing that, which also is a return to the city, but also serves the increase in capacity by the new development. So touching more onto the incentives in our City Commission policy, there's a City Commission policy, which is the resolution, and with the resolution, the request goes off to the state, who makes the final decision. And so there's a reduction from 9 to 15 years. The more you align with the city policy with certain items, such as a reduction of parking or more affordability, you can get up to 15 years. Jamari covered the unit mix there, and so far where the current policy is 20% of the districts would have to be 80% or less of county AMI, the development is already anticipating 32 at that level. And I believe I don't have the exact number, but there's 60% units as well. And so all of this to say is, on top of how it helps align the development for the developer's goals and to really help redevelop these old sites, the NEZ policy is meant to strike a balance between housing goals, the neighborhood's goals, the NEZ Act, and other private support and development that adds to the housing projects. There's a lot of layers, as they say. And that is it for the presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions I can about the policy or this request or next steps.
Thank you, sir. Questions, commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Hess.
Sure. Bobby, I know you said there's local support through the Housing Development Fund, the Brownfield Plan, County Housing Millage, and the NEZ District. Are all of those secured except for the NEZ?
I would let Jamari speak. I don't believe that they are all secured. But it does sound like a lot of things are ramping up by June 15th. I'm not...
Well, let him come up. I'd like to thank him for doing this.
Yeah.
Mr. Bogan, please answer, because I really just want to thank you for putting your energy and your talents into such a project. So is the NEZ District the last thing that you need to secure?
Yeah, so we'll be back in June, and that would have several other items that we're coming through this, city, pathways, but we've secured all other funding for the project. So we're really excited about the speed that we're operating at on this one. But yeah, our MISTA, our county millage, our brownfield plan is now going to be approved here in May. But everything here is moving at a good clip. So we feel good about once we have this approved. We got to come back here again in June. We should be all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Only thing I would add as well, I think on this one is unique because a lot of things are coming together fast, where this development is already in our site plan review project. I think you've already got your initial comments, so it's a lot of timing coming together.
And one more thing, Bobby. We mentioned the roads. Is it just a resurfacing of the roads, or is there any water infrastructure that needs to be taken care of?
I don't believe that there's any new mains, but there is the road, sidewalk, crossing, all of the surface is complete reconstruction. And I will look into that. I'm not as in-depth on site plan as I used to be. If there's something in there, I'll follow up.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. And thank you for the presentation, Bobby and Jamari. I had one question. I liked the point of affordability on here. I can see that there is the potential to have some deep affordability here, with rents being between 40 and 90% AMI, 10 of which being less than or equal to 60. Again, just wanting to see how deeply affordable we're going. Do we have an idea of how many 40% AMI units will be available of those 10?
I'm not sure if I had those exact figures in my presentation. For the purpose of the NEZ, and maybe Jamari could answer that a little more closely, is for the NEZ request, it's 20%. So where this one, it's already so far exceeding what we require. And then the support, like the 60%, is tied to one of the other funding sources. So Jamari probably knows more about that than I do.
So we have 2 units at 40% and 8 sub 60, which is a lot more deeper affordability than we have on phase 1 and on other projects that we brought forth. And we're trying to now figure out ways to continue to do things like this. I think Commissioner Hoffman in our last presentation kind of mentioned that, and so here we go.
Yeah, love to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Slavy.
This was presented to us as a mixed use development. So I didn't really see anywhere here about that other piece. So could someone speak on what that additional use is?
Yeah, I could speak to that because the NEZ, one of the requirements is that it has a ground floor retail use, which comes from the state. This project is featuring a very small commercial use. There's a white box, I believe it's about 350 square feet facing Pitcher Street. And in evaluating that, the retail use comes from the state act. It's not in our local policy. So my guidance to Jamari and his team was a ground floor use that faces outward and is either retail by zoning district or more intense.
Okay.
To kind of strike that balance.
So on the ground floor, it's going to feature a lot of those community amenities that he spoke to, and then one 350 square foot retail space.
That is correct.
Okay. And is this within NCBDA boundaries?
It is not.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, sorry. Per that white box, do you have a confirmed lease already? No. Okay.
I didn't believe so.
Commissioner Pradel.
Bobby and Mr. Brogan, good to see you both, and thank you for your presentation, and thank you for your work on this project as well. I just want to make sure I understood something correctly. So based on City Commission policy and the way NEZ works, if I understand correctly, as the state has added more diverse uses for NEZ, I guess, over the last decade or so, one of the things is that these tax incentives can be up to 15 years, if I'm correct. I want to make sure I understood it correctly, but my reading of this was mentioning that it would be, for this particular project, would be sunset after 5 years. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I'm glad you asked. Gives me another chance to. That's something I found that is a little hard to explain or maybe comprehend. So
Can I elaborate on that really quick, because it might
Yeah.
help with your question too, is just, I guess why I'm asking that question is it surprises me because there's so much commitment to affordability in this project, and based on our commission policy that sets that metric based on people who are doing that work and making it affordable, I just was surprised it wasn't higher. Or, I'm sorry, that the number of years.
Oh, well,
was it
the
longer?
5 years or the 15 years?
So the way I read and understood it, it seemed to me that this particular project would sunset on the tax incentives after 5 years, but we
That's
were
not
allowed
correct.
up to 15. So I was just curious if you could explain a little bit about and make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, it's a little bit like today we're talking about the creation of a district where following there's a formal application for certificates of tax abatement. As part of a community that can establish NEZs, you can have up to 10% of the geographic boundary of the city of Kalamazoo, which is 25 square miles and some change. We're at 1.5%. I think I might have pulled that out of my slides. So every time we create an NEZ, we're filling that up. Or, I'm doing some evaluation work with our current zoning where these newer types of NEZs are permitted. Where should we focus these requests? So to get back to your question, the 5 years is the district itself goes away in 5 years, but if there was 15 or 12 years of tax reduction, that still goes even if the district dissolves. And then with the district dissolving, we're not creating large areas of more NEZ sitting there, because this one also is a single project district. There's no other housing that could fit on it.
Guess what?
Does that make sense? Because once the certificate is issued by the state to grant the 15 years, it's in. There's ways to, if there's issues, to
Is there
take
a
action on
way
it.
to extend it if that's needed at some
Oh,
point?
great question. 5 years is the minimum by policy. So the city commission could make it longer than 5 years. You could make it match, maybe for convenience sake, the term as well.
I guess my curiosity is, if I'm remembering correctly, we've had some smaller geographic areas based on a specific development that had more years of NEZ tax incentive. So if I recall correctly, I think there was one that was like 9 years. I think there was another that was 12 years. And this one is saying sunsetting at 5 years.
This is 15 years.
But I guess my question is then, what is the sunsetting at 5 years come in if you have the full 15 years?
That's the district creation.
The district just vanishes from the map. It ceases to exist.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. That answers the question. The other question I had for you as well is, let me find my notes here. My other question was, I was trying to remember when this form of NEZ was created with our policy and whatnot, and I couldn't remember the timing with Zone 1 and whether NEZ incentives were used for Zone 1.
There were not NEZ incentives used for Zone 1, and I believe that development predated the policy, which I think was October 23.
Got it.
So,
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
close, but there wasn't an NEZ request affiliated with that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. A question that is difficult to put together, these two different things. We're just creating the districts is what we're proposing here in this hearing. So
Yep.
not the tax incentive tied to the project, which will come later.
Correct. And yeah, it's something I've learned in communicating. I get a lot of NEZ questions. It's a lot to digest.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for the public is realizing that just because the NEZ zone is being created, that certificate application, I presume, is what comes next, and that will still come forward, correct?
Correct. The district, the certificate is when the actual formality
And that's when it will
really
show
happens.
up. Okay. Do you have any sense about would it be the full 15 years for sure, or would it be potentially somewhere in between that?
I think that they can quite easily meet the 15 years.
All right, thank you.
Other questions, commissioners? Thank you so much for being here. Just a reminder, this is not an action item for this evening. This is a hearing. So seeing no more questions, now is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to comment on this item. If you come forward, state your name, whether you live in the city, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Maddie Jordan Woods, and I am a Northside resident. And my comment is that I am not here against this project, but I am here where the news media is saying that this is a reduction in taxes for the North Side. And I want to make it clear, the North Side residents who are homeowners, the 640 that are left after everything that has happened with the homeowners and all of the barriers that's put up for homeowners to be there, our taxes are going up. So I hope that this commission, the public media, stop implying that North Side individual homeowner residents are getting any benefits from any of the projects. I'm going to do a development as well, but I want to make it clear. Stop acting like Northside residents are getting lower taxes. Our taxes individually are going up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to comment during this public hearing?
Good evening, Toby Hannah Davies, and I live in the city. As somebody who's worked for increasing the affordable housing throughout the city for 20 plus years, I'm really happy about this project. I got to see inside phase 1 after it was all done, inside the child care center with children in it, inside the units that were not occupied yet, and it's really beautifully done. I'm really pleased that that part of town that has been pretty desolate for quite a long time is getting a lot of beautiful new life. I wanted to ask someone about the fact, it seemed to me from the presentation that the developer is responsible for the streets and sidewalks, and that's really the city's responsibility, isn't it? If the developer is going to be the one doing it, I hope that the kinds of support that the city gives really make up for the developer doing all that work of streets and old streets and sidewalks reconstruction. But most of all, I wanted to tell you that I'm very excited about 38 new units with these levels of affordability. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers who'd like to comment during this public hearing? All right, thank you so much for those comments. I will now close the public hearing, and as I stated, there's no action at this time. We'll see it again. Manager Hankins, we are now on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Following items are submitted for approval. Item 1, G1, approval of a one-year sole source contract renewal with OpenGov, Inc. for the OpenGov suite of software in the amount of $123,800.99. Item 2, approval of a professional services agreement with Northern Pump and Well Company for well rehabilitations in the amount of $128,431. 3, approval of a contract with Republic Services for the removal of waste and recyclable materials at various city projects in the amount of $136,578.48. Item 4, approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Fayan Zyostra, LLC to supply, install, and relocate 2 new sanitary pumps at the Woods Lake Lift Station in the amount of $252,381. 5, approval of a purchase from Trace 3 through the My Deal Cooperative Purchasing Program for Cisco switches as part of hardware lifecycle replacement in the amount of $268,831.18. 6, approval of a contract extension with Unique Paving Materials Corp. for asphalt patching materials in the amount of $293,000. 7, approval of a contract with LD Doska Associates, Inc. for labor and materials to install launder covers on secondary clarifiers number 5 through number 8 at the Kalamazoo Water Reclamation Plant in the amount of $406,177. Item 9, approval of a purchase with McQueen Equipment LLC through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program for a combination sewer cleaner in the amount of $593,958.76. Item 10, adoption of a resolution confirming the 2026 assessment roll. Item 11, adoption of a resolution approving a request with the Downtown Development Authority to levy a tax rate of 1.9638 mils. Item 12, adoption of a resolution approving contract with Michigan Department of Transportation for the resurfacing of Parkview Avenue from Drake Road to Tamsin Avenue in the amount of $351,900. Item 15, adoption of a resolution recommending approval of an off-premise tasting room permit for One Well Brewing located at 4213 Portage Street. Item 17, approval of a 6-month extension of the city manager's housing allowance in accordance with the terms of the city manager employment agreement. Item 18, approval of a memorandum of understanding with Kalamazoo Regional Education Service Agency, Career Connect, for the Summer Youth Employment and Training Program in the amount of $416,000. And item 19, approval of the minutes from the City Commission meetings on May 11, 2026.
Thank you very much, Manager Hankins. Jumping through that with a bunch of changes. So, Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1 through 7, 9 through 12, 15, and 17 through 19, and authorize the city manager to sign all documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hess.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Pradel. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman? Yes. Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Next, we're on to the regular agenda, which we do have more items on now, but we'll start with the two that appear on your printed agenda here. Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of a purchase agreement with Stephen and Linda French for the purchase of parcel number 07-27-280-012 in Comstock Township in the amount of $57,000.
Thank you, Manager Hankins. I know that this, as required, was on our agenda before. Is there, excuse me, any staff report?
No, there is not, Mayor. But we do have staff here for questions if questions arise.
I'm now going to ask Vice Mayor Duncan to take over for a moment.
H2 of regular agenda, approval of the contract extension with J&H Oil Company for gasoline, diesel, and biodiesel fuel in an amount not to exceed $1.2 million. Apologies. We will open up our first agenda item to public comment. If there is anyone in the chambers that wishes to speak on agenda item 1, please step to the podium. Seeing none, I will move on to item agenda 2. Oh, sorry. Motion. Do we have any discussion from our commissioners?
I think, yeah.
Point of order, we need to have the motion to approve.
Item 1. Motion to approve item 1.
So moved. Support.
Clerk Boiling, do we need a roll call? Yes, we do, but normally there's discussion.
After a motion has been made and seconded, then we proceed into any discussion from the commissioners before the vote.
Commissioners? Seeing none. Roll call, please. Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan? Yes. Mayor Anderson? Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
You're doing great, Vice Mayor.
All right. Item H2, approval of a contract extension with J&H Oil Company for gasoline, diesel, and biodiesel fuel in the amount not to exceed $1,200,000.
We will open the floor for public comment. Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 2, please step to the podium. Seeing none, commissioners, discussion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Hoffman. Discussion. Seeing none. Clerk.
Okay. Commissioner Slaby?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson? Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Item H3. It's now 3.
Oh.
Approval of a contract extension with Wreath Riley Construction Company for asphalt paving materials in the amount of $1,635,400.
Do we have a staff report on that item?
We do not.
Thank you. Motion.
Public
No,
comment.
Public comment, sorry. Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 3, please step to the podium. Seeing none. Any motions?
Motion.
Support.
Discussion. Clerk Burling.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson? Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby?
Yes.
Item H4, excuse me. Yes, item H4, adoption of a resolution approving changes in the street lighting contract with Consumers Energy at 825 Porter Street.
I'd like to open the floor to public comment on this issue. Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion from commissioners.
Yeah, Vice Mayor. I removed 13 to 14. I can just make comment about this. I'm wondering if somebody can speak to this. So the reason I pulled it off is because if I could take away, and I think most of us probably have heard similar things, like at top 3 or maybe top 5 issues from Northside residents, one of them is that we want more lighting. And so I noticed on G14 it talks about, well, I'll back up here for a second. Both of these items are change of standard lighting contracts with Consumers Energy. One's at 825 Porter, one's at 440 North Church. In quote, the packet says, in order for additional or lighting upgrades, Consumers Energy requires a signed resolution for changes to lighting contract. That sounds great, right? Because that sounds like, hey, we're getting more lighting. But then on G13, it says the requests are for the removal of utility poles, which I interpret as there are less of that utility pole if you're removing them. And so I suppose that could mean they're being removed to add more, but it doesn't say add more. It just says remove utility poles. When you go to G14, it basically says all the same standard things that G13 says, but it says remove and replacement of street lights. And so I was wondering if somebody could speak to that, because it just seems, at least outwardly from the way you would read that, it seems to go against, it seems to be contrary to what we hear from residents, if you will.
Director Baker, would you mind addressing?
Sure, thank you, City Manager, and thank you, Commissioner Pradel, for the opportunity to comment on this item. So just kind of break these down. You've got one at Porter Street address, 825 Porter, I believe. That package coincides with a public hearing you just saw today where the entire street's going to get reconstructed. There's actually the utility poles and conductors are going away, and in replacement of that, there's going to be post-top acorns that are going to be a better, improved lighting overall. And so I apologize that the document wasn't very clear on that, but that is what's going in there. So there's not going to be any decrease in lighting. It's actually going to be more aesthetically pleasing, and then the new lights going in are actually going to be cutoffs So that means they won't shine upward, they'll be shining downward. When you transition, the other item at 440 Church Street, that's the county new parking structure. So this is this is actually right on Kalamazoo Avenue. That one is getting timed with construction, so those poles and wires and all that stuff are coming down. And the new lighting is going to go in with Kalamazoo Ave, so that's under a separate project. And then we're also working with the county to see what kind of lights that are on the face of the building. So it's really kind of a whole change in footprint. And again, there's some other complexities of what we're doing on Kalamazoo Ave and what that development looks like right there. So again, thank you for that opportunity for us to clarify with the commission on those.
That's perfect. I suspected it was something like that, but I just want to make sure to be absolutely certain before we do it, so thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Commissioner Hess.
I have another question for Director Baker, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's to refer back to what Ms. Hannah Davies asked about the project on Porter Street. And it is the city's responsibility to do the roads and the sidewalks and so on, the infrastructure around Zone 32, right?
So every development's unique. There is an opportunity with this development, and because of things like off-street parking, the use of the street, the ability to bring in infrastructure through the different packages that are incentivized, that there's actually street reconstruction that's going on, part of that project that's going to be funded by the development. So it doesn't happen every time, but this is a great partnership and a great opportunity for the city where there's going to be new infrastructure that's coming in with that development. Thank you.
Questions from other commissioners? Commissioner Slavy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Duncan. Director Baker, you mentioned that, if I had a question about lighting, to bring it up when we had something like this come up. So thank you, Prado. I know that we've also considered reevaluating lighting like in Edison near Portage Creek off of Bryant Street. And so could you maybe just share with the public kind of the process of us putting these change orders towards the consumer's contract for these considerations, and how that could be done?
Sure, certainly. So you may have noticed at City Commission that we have brought several of these forward to you. They're kind of sprinkled in your consent agenda from time to time. So anytime that we take a street light out or we put a street light in, whether that's 1 or that's 100, we have to go through a process with Consumers Energy that includes a resolution and a 547 form. As we go through that process, we also do a photometric study, and we do an analysis of the overall lighting conditions before and after. Certainly, we don't want to see less lighting, and if at all possible, we want to actually upgrade the lighting to the new standards that we have today. And so that process is initiated through our right-of-way department, and our right-of-way staff will actually initiate a request to Consumers Energy. A lot of these come through site plan, and then site plan requests those through our right-of-way permit staff, and then our permit staff coordinate with Consumers Energy. That all being said, we do have dollars in our CIP, both in local streets and major streets, for street lighting improvements on local streets and major streets. So we've got the ability to go into neighborhoods in accordance with neighborhood plans and start to upgrade lights. And that could be, one light at the end of the cul-de-sac on a street that is seeing new use lately, or it could be something much bigger than that. So we take those requests, and those can be routed through our right-of-way coordinator.
And just so I understand how these are set up, we have 2 separate resolutions for the same thing but in different areas. Is this just because of somehow they coincidentally got on the same agenda, or do they have to be separated in their own individual resolutions?
So each project area will be its own resolution. So if there was a request for, say, a street light on Bryant, that would be one request. If there was a street light request for a street light on Reed, that's a separate request. these are on the same agenda just because we were cycling them through at the same time. They're not related themselves. They're separate projects, but they're just together because they were just timed that way.
Recommended action is to motion to approve. Oh, we did. Roll call, please. Scott Borling.
Do we need to have an opportunity for public comment? Already did.
Yes.
You got it nailed.
Okay. Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
I'm going to take the opportunity to hand control back over to Mayor Anderson.
Oh, you should. You're doing such a beautiful job. So thank you so much for just jumping right in. That's a kind of a different way to approach the meeting, sitting in that seat. Awesome job. So thank you, commissioners. The motion passes. And now we are on to what was G16, is that correct? And is now, now we're on to G14, which is now H4.
Yes. H5.
H5. Okay, fine.
Okay. H5, adoption of a resolution approving changes in the street lighting contract with Consumers Energy at 440 North Church Street.
Thank you, Manager Hankins. I know we don't have a staff report on this necessarily. Any particular questions on this item from anybody? Anybody in the chambers that wants to comment on this item? I see no one. Commissioners, the motion is to adopt a resolution approving changes in the street lighting contract with Consumers Energy at 440 North Church Street.
Motion.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Slaby, supported by Vice Mayor Duncan. Discussion? Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. The next item, Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Item H6, adoption of a resolution establishing a social district within the Northside Cultural Business District.
So I know this is pulled, so you don't necessarily have a report on this. If you have any staff that want to say anything about it. Mr. Ford.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayors, City Commissioners, City Manager Hankins. I didn't plan to speak on this. I don't know if there's any questions. I mean, materials were sent out. I'm gonna keep this clear and short and concise, but NCBDA, Northside Cultural Business District Authority is looking to establish a social district in its boundaries, similar to the DDA and DEGA. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't know what questions anybody had.
Thank you for jumping up and being ready. So questions? Commissioner Slaby.
Thank you, Kevin. I know you were probably waiting for that to just get passed on the consent agenda. So I appreciate your patience with us as we moved it to the regular agenda. I think, it's not every day that we create a social district. And so I just want to make sure that the public understood what that is, what activities can take place, and the value that it would bring to NCBDA, as basically we've seen, I think, great value with having that downtown. And a lot of people that I run into don't even know we have a social district downtown. So just making sure everyone understands what it actually is and what that means for the north side.
Thank you, Commissioner Slaby. Are you hoping for any further clarification from Kevin Ford on this, or?
Sure. I mean, I guess, what would one do once we have a social district in place?
Are you referring to residents or the district itself?
The social district that gets put in place. So ideally, the idea would be to allow for people to be able to move from one establishment to another openly with open containers, and that would be the activity to help.
Yes, it's exactly like the downtown social district. No difference. This is primarily state law and state regulations with, local policies and city staff assisting, but it's no different than what we have currently with downtown.
Okay, I mean, I guess I was just asking because, again, I've ran into people that don't know what a social district is, so even saying we have one downtown, people don't know what it is. So I just thought we could clarify for the public what it is. That's it.
Yep, that's, for clarification, yes, it is a bounded area in which one is allowed to have alcohol. And so downtown, I don't know the boundaries downtown, but in the NCBDA, it's similar. It's just a certain boundary. Again, it's state regulated, so the cups that are involved, they have to be, they have to have certain stickers for folks to move around. But other than that, that's pretty much it. It's a bounded area in which residents can move freely with alcohol.
Maybe Director Mitchell, because he was here when we, put together the downtown one, could share more about why we think this is a valuable tool and what we've seen come from it downtown in terms of attracting visitors and residents to partake in activities?
Thank you, Commissioner Selby. Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, so as Kevin said, it's pretty much a district to assist with helping commercial, in this case, bars, restaurants, assist them with more exposure in a Pacific District area and hopefully attracting even more business development in those areas as well, because you also open up the opportunity for if this district decides to have a more affordable liquor license in those districts as well for restaurants and things like that. So it's an incentive tool to assist those businesses with expanding their footprint. One of the businesses brought up if they was having any events or things like that, like inside the district, it will allow patrons of other establishments to take their drinks to other areas in that established area. The key factor, though, here needs to be understood by the public is that this is a district all by itself. It does not blend into the district downtown, so you cannot take your cups from one district to another. You would have to get a brand new cup, a brand new drink in the downtown district area. It does have the ability to expand if necessary by the TIF district in the future, similar to what we're looking at with the downtown district right now currently. So it is a additional incentive item, and this is what is being created in the north side to assist with hopefully additional, as they say, restaurant and business development in that area, and hopefully further down in the district in the future.
I know we have certain policies based on city-owned property. So owner Papa's Sausages, when they talked previously in the general public comment, mentioned, potentially taking it to Harrison Park. So within the social district, that would allow for people to be able to do that on city-owned property, such as parks?
Yes, if it's approved by the commission. And so we would have to just make sure it's okay in the district boundaries of this area, which have been discussed in previous developments, similar to with Bronson Park here.
And I think my last question is, could you maybe talk through why this isn't considered an extension of the downtown district boundaries? Was that an option, and you just considered that this would be better to keep it separate, or by some sort of regulatory standard, we can't have them combined?
No, we could have them combined. The issue it would put this similar funding restraints on the new TIF district as in the current one, which would also have to be required of approval by this commission and the state to combine those areas to cross over the existing boundaries into an area. So you would have literally two TIF districts running one quote-unquote social district, which could cause issues if one group wants to do one thing, the other one wants to do something else, and that's why staff moved towards having two separate social districts.
Also, that was the request of the NCBDA.
Correct.
Yeah. Any other questions for staff on this item? Thank you, Commissioner Slaby. Now is the opportunity for anybody here in the chambers to comment on this item. It was item G16, it's now on the regular agenda. Welcome.
Welcome. So again, I would like to ask this commission to support this, the approval to create a district. And I want to be clear that the Northside Cultural Business District was established for several reasons. One of them being that we did not ever want the downtown to continue to bleed into the north side and the north side neighborhood not exist. The social district was asked for the businesses that are at the eastern end. They said that they needed to have another tool so that they all can work together on a much larger event so that they can bring more people. So this is about helping existing businesses. The Northside Cultural Business Districts, yes, our main priority was to increase resident-owned businesses, but it was also to assist and maintain the businesses that was already there. And you all agreeing to do this will help those businesses that thought enough to put their business in our neighborhood and to remain. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this item?
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. So it's my understanding that within the DDA or downtowns in the state of Michigan that municipalities can, or maybe the state of Michigan, provide an unlimited number of liquor licenses. That's why our downtown has so many liquor purveyors, because there's an unlimited number of licenses. Outside of downtown, I believe there's some population-based limits on how many liquor licenses are available. So I'm wondering if a new business wants to move into the Northside Cultural Business District Authority. Well, if they already have a liquor license, I guess they can do it. And I'm just wondering about, is it going to be any easier for businesses that do not already have a liquor license to obtain one if they locate within the Northside Cultural Business District Authority? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this item? Thank you once again to all who commented. So, Commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Slaby.
Support.
Supported by Vice Mayor Duncan. Discussion. Commissioner Pradle.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm definitely planning to support this. I think this is a responsible way to do this work. And I remember back in 2020 how controversial it was. We had this huge debate about whether we're going to include Bronson Park in it or not. And I remember people just saying, oh my gosh, like horrible things are going to happen if we open it up to Bronson Park. You know, Bronson Park's going to be ruined and nobody's going to want to go there anymore. This is a great activation tool, a responsible activation tool of people. And, you know, a prime example is like what a great opportunity if you have an event like coming up. We have an art fair that's happening in Bronson Park. And if you have a labeled cup, being able to walk around and, you know, enjoy a beverage, but you can't walk around with, well, I mean, not easily walk around with 10 cups, you know, like this around. So you just have 1 cup at a time or maybe 2 cups at a time, which means that you're responsibly drinking. For a lot of retailers, I remember back during the pandemic, you know, they had very limited seating opportunities. And even now that we're not in a pandemic, you know, there's only so many chairs in a location. But the beauty about this is that you can sell more than there are seats in your location, which is a great opportunity to increase business, but also recruit those entrepreneurs in the cultural district as well. So I'm definitely in favor of this, and I think, you know, our learnings from the last 5 or 6 years show us that it's a really great tool for whatever areas that they've existed.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradle. Other discussion? Commissioner Slaby.
I was just curious because I think Jeff Messer had posed a good question, so I was wondering if staff was able to respond to that question about.
I mean, someone could. It really is not germane to this whatsoever. You know, what we're talking about is a liquor license. You know, are there the same kinds of liquor licenses available like there in downtown in the NCBDA? So I wouldn't have expected anyone to be prepared to answer that right off the bat, but that's Manager Hankins.
I mean, I guess the question would be germane to it in terms of, does a social district allow? Or,
no.
Okay, so it doesn't impact that at all?
It's not the social district.
Yeah.
It's the fact, what Mr. Messer was referring to was that there were some licenses available within a DDA, nothing to do with social district, to, promote that. And so it would be, is that same benefit available to the corridor improvement district? Not, it may have a social district or not, but is it available to the corridor enhancement district? Mr. Mitchell is saying no. So that same benefit's not available, even though they're both TIF districts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this is a great tool. I'm happy that staff was able to describe kind of the value of it to the public. Again, like I said, I run into so many people that don't know what a social district is. So to me, that means we got to do a lot better marketing of it so people can understand that they can take advantage of it. I know that, Green Door Distillery is within the north side, but they had to shut their doors. But they had been a big advocate for creating a social district. So I think it's a bummer that they weren't able to stick around to see this actually pass. So I think that this is something that businesses have been asking for. I love to see that we have a cultural business district that is very active, that is thinking about what is going to support businesses to ultimately support its residents and, neighborhood business owners. And so I'm excited to see this put in place. I do understand now that staff has explained it, why we have two separate districts. I think it'll be interesting, once again, going back to the marketing piece, how we can ensure that people understand what does that mean? Because again, now that sounds like people can't go from one district to another. So just figuring out how we can, does that mean we have different cups? And if you bring a different cup into a district, now the police is saying you can't have, interesting to see how that all plays out. But I'm in general in favor of having this social district created for NCBDA, and I'm excited to see what that brings to our businesses that are here and will come as a result of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Slaby. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda, City Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Item H7, approval of a settlement agreement in the Rashard, Armstrong, and City of Kalamazoo et al. Lawsuit.
Thank you. Attorney Leal.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier today, the Outside Litigation Counsel provided the City Commission with a legal briefing concerning a proposed settlement in this lawsuit. Since if the Commission desires to accept the settlement, the decision must be made in open session. To that end, I seek a motion to accept the proposed settlement based on the advice of Outside Litigation Counsel as discussed in closed session.
Thank you, Attorney Leal. Are there any questions for Attorney Leal on this item? All right, seeing none, now is an opportunity for anyone here in the chambers to comment on this item. It was added this evening. I don't know what number it is, but H7, thank you, Manager Hankins. And just one more time, if you would be so kind as just to read the motion, since people don't have a printed copy of it.
The motion that was first made or moved and seconded was to accept the proposed settlement agreement based on the advice of Outside Litigation Counsel as discussed in closed session.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, point of information, there hasn't been a motion in a second yet.
Yeah.
I stand
Correct.
corrected. Thank you.
Yes. So seeing no commenting on it, Commissioners, then the request is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Slaby. Further discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. And that is the extent of our regular agenda, isn't it, Manager Hankins? So. All right. On your printed agenda, you will find that after the regular agenda items, there was an item under policy items, K1, and just a reminder, that has been removed from tonight's agenda as well. So now we are down to commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Vice Mayor Duncan.
I know it's commissioner comments, but I have questions about K1 as to why that was removed.
I can answer that.
Please.
It's internally, we were reviewing the policy and we realized we still had some questions we needed to clear up before we brought it to you. So there's no,
So it's not going away, it's just still being.
No, we're just working through the internal staff conversations about the policy.
Thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. So we've had quite a few comments at recent meetings about the flooding on the north side, so I wanted to inform the community about an event that we have going on tomorrow. Tomorrow, there will be a community event at the Northside Association for Community Development, NACD, 6 to 7 p.m. This will be a place where Northside residents are able to share their concerns regarding the recent flooding issues. I'll be in attendance with Jason Wiersma, our Kalamazoo County Drain Commissioner. We'll be there to get a better understanding of the concerns directly from residents, provide guidance on available resources and support, as well as discuss the root cause of the issues and potential next steps to address. Again, I'll be there mostly to listen and support, but we'll have our expert County Drain Commissioner Jason Wiersma there to answer some questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Slavy. No? You're set? Commissioner Pradel.
Sure. I think tonight is a good example and a reminder that this can often be a team sport, and so I just want to thank you for just jumping in on a whim like that. It's pretty intimidating, I'm sure, when that happens, and so thank you, Vice Mayor, and for doing that. Also, I know this is coming up. I want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge Director Antonio Mitchell, who will be retiring. I think this will probably be the last time you're up at the podium in your capacity, I think, maybe. I believe your retirement event is next Tuesday? Say again? Thursday. But anyways, congratulations and thank you for your service. And, just kind of off that conversation with lights, I know that there's good use and there'll be enhancement of lighting in those areas that we mentioned, but I think here repeatedly, we would love to see more lights in some of the more residential areas in the neighborhood. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. Commissioner Hess.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Indeed, a team sport. So this, choosing to see the best of Kalamazoo. A few good things about Kalamazoo happening lately. Mayor and I were able to do the mayor's bike ride on Saturday, and leading us and shepherding us along the way were two officers, police officers. One who had just caught a baby the day before. Officer Arnett, God bless him, was Johnny on the spot and was able to be that officer who caught a baby from a burning building and then also rescued the mother. And I'm like, and you're here the next morning just doing your job. And these guys are showing up. He and Officer Cake did a great job of leading and shepherding our bike ride and having it be a safe bike ride through the city of Kalamazoo, led by a very knowledgeable biker, Wilson, who chose the route and let us see a lot of Kalamazoo from a different place than a car. And it really is different. So if you have a chance to get on a bike and ride around the city of Kalamazoo, you're going to see the best of what Kalamazoo has to offer. Thank you again to those officers. And speaking of officers, right here in these chambers last week, Chief and the Department of Public Safety swore in 6 new officers, and we'd like to welcome them to public safety. And quoting Chief Boyson, he said, being a public safety officer is an honorable profession, and indeed it is, and welcome to those 6, and grateful for all of those who do serve. It's Happy Public Services Week. So last week was Police Week, where we did a lot of wonderful police work. And this week, we're doing a lot of wonderful public services week work with the visits on Tuesday night and Wednesday night Tuesday night and Thursday night at our Harrison facility and our Stockbridge facility so that people can see the work that really is being done. And between public safety and public services, this is the majority of the employees of the city of Kalamazoo. You know, these are the people with boots on the ground. They're literally doing the work of keeping this city running, and I'm so grateful to you all. And then also today, I was able to attend at Kalamazoo College the introduction of the new 19th president of Kalamazoo College. She'll be joining us right after commencement on June 14th in our community as the new president of Kalamazoo College, Carolyn Crowley, and she comes to us from Delaware, Ohio, and the Ohio Wesleyan University. She'll be replacing retiring President Jorge Gonzalez. So welcome, welcome to Carolyn Crowley.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hess. So it was great to go on that bike ride, and we went through some neighborhoods and went down some streets that I don't regularly travel on. And I can tell you, my commissioner colleagues, there was one thing that was somewhat discouraging to me about that ride, and that's the miserable condition of a lot of our streets when we get it out to our neighborhoods. And I know we're doing the best we can, and you know, our public services department does a fantastic job, and we've been, you know, focusing on them here a lot for the last couple of weeks. But I guess if I had to say anything about that, my sincerest hope is we have some more money coming our way. The new way that the state budget has allocated our Act 51 dollars, so we got more coming our way. But, you know, we've been doing a big lift with this, you know, lead service line replacement, big thing to do. But I really am hoping that we can get to kind of a Marshall Plan look at our streets sometime here over the next few years. We hear about speed bumps. You know, I recognize that. Went down some streets where there's speed bumps that we installed to be helpful on top of streets that were literally, you know, a quilt patchwork of potholes, patched and now unpatched, you know, since we just went through the winter. So I guess I would say I hear about this. We get communications in our office about this, and it is one of the most basic things that we want to be doing is creating a place where you're not going to be worried about the streets driving down, and, you know, we're going to keep that there and do the best we can. I know we're doing more this year, so thank you, Director Baker, for that. A couple other things. Our very own Pastor Greg Jennings Sr., who does fantastic work with Pastors on Patrol, had a regional women's conference at Progressive Deliverance this past week. We got to attend that, and you know, great event, a lot of energy. And then we also, another thing we had this weekend was the ribbon cutting for Open Roads, which is now right in the heart of Edison neighborhood here. I'm so happy that it's here where young people can just walk to it without having to negotiate this long stretch down Riverview Drive, which probably to some folks felt like way out in the country, how do I even get there? It was, once again, it was just so welcoming to young people. They've done a beautiful job on setting it up inside there. And Ethan and Isaac and the folks that keep that going, I just want to say thank you so much. And here's what it reminds me of. I mentioned this, I made a few remarks to the gathering over at Progressive Deliverance, and that is that, you know, people come here and they ask us to do things, and we try to do the best job we can, where we can, to help this be a great place. But underneath all of that, it's just really what makes Kalamazoo a great place is everything that everybody is doing, not up here in the dais, in their neighborhoods, at their nonprofits, in their faith centers here in Kalamazoo. And that, I mean, that is something that doesn't start or end here. It starts from people's hearts. And I mean, I can't tell you how great that feels when you get out over and over again and seeing that good work being done all across the city. So thank you, everyone that spends their time trying to help this place be a great place to everybody live. I love you, Kalamazoo. We're adjourned.